Okay, I need to work on the lighting on this camera for a little bit, but whatever, we're gonna get into it. We got some time on this camera to record, so what I'm going to do is I want to record my podcast, and I'm just gonna I'm gonna call these behind the scenes type junk. Uh, that's the new name that I thought of. But here we go. I'm gonna start recording. We're gonna get into the podcast. So I was going through my book today, and I'm rereading everything. I'm getting it ready to be put up on the internet and also published as well. That's why I'm going like one by one. And I'm sitting here, I'm looking at it. It's such a daunting task because there are like literally thousands of pages. I think in total it's about 3,500 pages. And to go back and reread all of those is pretty crazy. And the worst part about it is that most of the time I wasn't in the best mind state that I could have been in. And because of that, a lot of the writing came out a little bit jumbled up and a little bit confusing, and some words just aren't right. And there's a lot of spelling mistakes, there's a lot of grammar mistakes, but the story itself stays intact. So it's not too big of a problem. I mean, of course, I would have liked it to be easier, and I could have just gone through it and just fix up the grammar mistakes, and then that's it. But some of it didn't make sense. So I'm at this one part right now. Let me pull it up. It is January, February, March, April, May. May 1st, 2019, and I kind of got into it, and I was just talking about optimism and how it affected my life, and how I had such a view in life where I'm just like, I'm an optimistic person, and whatever is going to happen is going to work out. And that didn't work out too well. It sucks. It's just being human. You know what I mean? Like, you're a human being, so you're going to be optimistic about a lot of things, and you're going to think that you are going to win a lot in life. And unfortunately, that's not the case. But what I've learned so far is that no matter what you do, you're winning. Um, it doesn't matter how bad you're failing, even if you're failing, like, even if these people fail you, you yourself are always winning. You're always in the right. So that's why I have such a profound feeling for these people that are in jail. And I specifically talk about those people because nobody else talks about them. They only talk about them in bad light. Like, they always want them to get punished. They want them to feel bad. They want them to be eradicated from this earth. And I just feel for them. I'm just like, they don't pick this life. They didn't choose to do what they did. If they could have chose otherwise and not have dealt with the consequences, they would have. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like they went in and they were like, I'm gonna murder X person and I'm just going to deal with it. Like, if you think about it, if they were to murder someone, wouldn't they just have killed themselves? Wouldn't that have been easier? And they couldn't even get to that point where it's just like, I might as well just kill myself. And you people don't have to worry about it. Because people view suicide as such a thing where it's like, as Christians, people don't believe that you go up to heaven, but everybody looks at it as less of a crime than to murder someone else. And I genuinely just feel bad for those people. I'll definitely talk about that. But because I used to be a criminal myself, and seeing how criminals are treated after being one yourself, you definitely have a different outlook on it. Like, what I said is, I don't believe that they should be punished the way that they are. Like, yes, they have to be isolated. I'm not going to get that wrong, but at least give them a book to read. You know what I mean? So that's what I was talking about in this one. This is all the way back in 2019. 2019, guys. It's a really long time back. But then I started talking about a real delicate topic. It was about me thinking that I had to suck my friend's dick for money, literally, where I it's so hard to explain. So I literally woke up one day, and then let's go back a couple of days. I woke up one day and I was feeling awesome. You know what I mean? Like, I just tried some sassafras. I smoked a bunch on it, and I was feeling like I was on top of the world. And then I started to have a come down. You know how the weekend talks about his come downs, and a druggie's come down is it's just mood swings. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's not as bad as you think it is. It's just a roller coaster that you have to ride on. And you're just feeling it, and maybe some more drugs will help. Most likely more drugs will help. So that's why weed heads are so looked down upon, because they keep it going. You know what I mean? They don't really stop the high. And people are saying, like, you need to stop the high, you need to stop getting high, and your come downs are not that bad. You don't get addicted to weed, so don't worry about it. But it's like, it's not about that, dude. You know, it's about the feeling. It's just like, dude, I want to feel this particular way for as long as possible. So that's what was happening with the sassafras. I tried it, and I wanted that feeling to stay, but I couldn't afford it. I was so broke, and Dan was picking up the pace for me, and I couldn't keep up. You know what I mean? Like, it was really bad in that sort of way. So I was trying to scrounge up money. I had absolutely no money, because what I kept doing was, after I bought some weed, I would sell it, and then I would immediately go back and buy some more weed. And I was smoking my own product. You know what I mean? Like, everything was looking down for me. Like, I was doing all the red flags, and like, nobody cared, nobody noticed. I was just doing it just to do it, and people were just like watching me, and they were just like, you know what, we're in hell too, dude. So you have to get your stuff together, and if you can't get your stuff together, I don't know what to say to you. So it was one of those situations where it's just like, every man for themselves, and it shouldn't be like that. We should have a much deeper connection. But unfortunately, these people don't believe in that. They just believe in fear. They're just like, I don't want to fail. I'm scared of failing. So I'm going to throw anybody under the bus so that I don't have to fail. That's the type of society that we live in. That's the type of people that we live with. It's unfortunate. It really is. But that didn't that didn't really, it did matter. I'm not gonna lie, it did matter. But that's what I was doing. I found some sassafras, and I was just like, you know what? Let me start smoking this stuff. And actually, all you had to do was eat it, right? It was in capsules. I tried the capsules out, and I was smoking weed, smoking dabs on top of it, not just weed, dabs, 99% purity, just smoking it to my face while I was on this sassafras. And I didn't tell anybody about it. Like, I didn't say a single thing to anybody. I was just like, you know what? I don't know why I did that. It's not like, I don't know if I was ashamed of trying out different drugs without anybody knowing. Like, I don't know if I was ashamed of it. You know what I mean? Like, should I not say anything because he might think negatively of me? I don't know. I don't know why I didn't say anything, but I didn't. And every time you go to Dan's house, you're going to smoke. You know what I mean? Like, it's a given. You're not going to do anything else except smoke. So I did the SAS, and then I walked over to Dan's house, and then we just sat down and then we just started smoking dabs. And I was just like, okay, okay. I didn't think anything of it because I didn't have any negative effects. Like, all I did was feel good. I was feeling good. So when we started smoking dabs, I started blacking out. And when you black out on drugs, it's very scary. It's pretty scary because you're completely functional. You're completely functional, but you're not there. So it's very scary because, you're like, everybody's looking at you. They're like, yeah, you're acting normal. And it's like, what do you mean I was acting normal? They're like, yeah, you're acting normal. You're just smoking. And it's like, did I fall asleep? It's like, no, you were awake. And you're like, what? I've never gotten blackout drunk. When I do get blackout drunk, you slump. You know what I mean? Like, you look like you're dead. Like, you can't get up or anything like that. But I was functional. I remember, smoking, and then I remember going to this food place to go eat, and I was just like, I don't have any money. Let's just go back and start smoking some more. And he was like, yeah. I went back, and then, like, this whole day transpired, and then I woke up in my bed the next day. So everything was fine. Like, everything was fine. There was no problems behind it. You know what I mean? It was like, yeah, I got blackout. I blacked out, but, like, nothing bad happened. I was okay. I felt great. And I woke up like a new man. I was just like, oh shit, this feels too good to be true. So then I went and I got more. Like, I was coherent to the point where I could drive. I can, maybe if I was high, I wasn't going to be able to drive, but, like, it was pretty scary because you're just on autopilot. So I'm on autopilot, and then, like, all right, so we're gonna fast forward a little bit. I'm on autopilot. I keep doing this, right? And this lasts for about a week. And I'm getting sassafras. I'm going to Staten Island, getting sassafras, and I'm coming back, and uh, that just goes on for about a week. And then after that week, I started having the biggest come down you can ever think of, like the largest come down, because I couldn't get any more. I ran out of money. Life wasn't cool anymore. It was bleak. I was scared. I didn't have any money. Like, it all came down to, like, I have no money, and I didn't have a job at the time. Like, all I was doing was selling weed, and Dan was helping me out, and Dan was finally like, yo, bro, you gotta start doing something. And I was just like, okay, I'll try. And I'm on the biggest come down ever. And then all of a sudden, one day, so the come down lasts for about 3 weeks, something like that, like literally almost a month. At one point, I start hearing voices, you know what I mean? Like, full blown schizophrenia. I'm hearing these voices, and I'm just dealing with it. I'm just like, okay, I just have to deal with these voices. And then I'm still functioning at this time. So I'm having this huge come down. I'm hearing voices. I'm functioning. I'm still going over to Dan's house, and I'm just like, yo, what's up? Apparently, I wasn't talking. So that's new news to me. I wasn't saying much. You know what I mean? Like, I would start sentences and then I wouldn't end them. Basically, I was acting the same way that I was acting before. Because if you knew me, like, you would know that I have trouble, like, talking. Like, I can't talk like this in front of somebody. Like, it doesn't happen that way. That's why I record myself, because I'm like, yo, this is fucking awesome. I can talk. Uh, this is how it sounds if I talk. Like, it still sounds like broken English, but, like, I can still make sentences and still have a flowing conversation. but it sounded kind of like the same as I've been doing. But they said that it was to the point where they thought that I was giving them the silent treatment. And I wasn't giving anybody the silent treatment. I was just going in and out of consciousness, like literally just going in and out. And then this keeps happening where it's like I'm losing my mind. I'm completely losing my mind, but at the same time I'm coming back into reality. So if you people have a question about schizophrenia, people with schizophrenia have a problem with holding on to reality. So it seems very like unreal to them, and they seem like an unreal person. Like they won't be able to work, they won't be able to do certain things. Like for me, I wasn't able to hold conversations. I wasn't able to hold a job. I wasn't able to do regular things that should be easy to do. But I wasn't able to do any of those things. And it kind of seemed like I was giving everybody the cold shoulder when in reality I needed help. And I didn't know how to ask. Like I never asked anybody. So that started happening. And then here comes the second wave of the come down where it's just like, bro, it's not like you hear voices. There's a point where I do start hearing voices, and it's very prominent. Like it's like people are on loudspeakers, talking through loudspeakers, and you're in your house and you're just like, bro, who's saying that? Like, who the fuck is saying that? And you're just trying to stay sane. So it's like the voices are making you go crazy. It's like I have to figure out where these voices are coming from. I have to figure out where these voices are coming from. But you know, while that is going on, that wave happens. You know what I mean? And then there's another wave where it's just like it makes you feel like you have to do something. At all times you feel like you have to get up and do something. Like, how in regular life you just feel like going to the beach one day, and then you feel like writing a book one day, and then you feel like going to work, and then at work you feel like going home. But instead of feeling like you need to go home from work, what you do is you actually act on it. So you're at work and you're just like, man, I want to go home. A schizophrenic would be like this, man, I want to go home. They would just leave. Like, and a regular person would be like, I want to go home. But then they stay the last 5 hours that they're supposed to work, and then they go home. But a schizophrenic would be like, I want to go home. And then literally in the next minute, they're gone. You're like, where did they go? It's like, oh, they just dipped out. Like, reality has to be altered for their life, because now things become more important than it seems. Like hearing these voices now, it's, I want to be able to hear voices at all times. So now I'm thinking of different ways to get technology to work for me to do that. So like, why do I record myself and I make these podcasts and I record myself on video? Why do I do all this? It's because in a way it felt like it was being done to me already. Like when you hear voices, it sounds like pre-recorded stuff, and it also sounds like real life stuff. So like, how can I get to these voices? How can I make everybody else feel what I feel? And that's why I'm thinking like these have to be superpowers. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Like, uh, how else can we explain what schizophrenia is? It has to be a superpower. So anyway, let's finish up the story. So I started to feel like I had to do stuff. At first I'm doing stuff freely, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, there's this one command that comes up. Like it's like a voice that tells you, it's like, suck your friend's dick because you owe him money. And I'm just like, no, I'm not. I'm not going to do it. And it's like, no, you have to do it. And then you're just like, oh my gosh, I have to do it, don't I? And so I'm going to Dan's house. And the whole time I'm walking there, it feels like, it also feels like you're famous. So there's levels, bro. It also feels like you're famous. So it feels like everybody in town knows who you are. So you're just sitting there like, oh crap, everybody knows me. Now that everybody knows me, it's like becoming famous out of nowhere, and you feel like you have to do something in order for this fame to continue or something like that. And I got famous in a day, and then I felt like I owed Dan for this fame. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden it felt like I had to suck his dick because for no reason. Because nothing. Because literally it was just like the reasons were there though. You know what I mean? Like he helped me out tremendously. He always spotted me money. He always spotted me with drugs and with weed, I should say specifically. He always spotted me with weed. He got me the apartment in Rutgers. Like he was the one that suggested that this is how you get into Rutgers if you want to live here and be on your own. I've known him for years at this point, like a year or two. And all that rolled up into a ball and became this thing where it's just like, okay, now you owe this man so much. You owe him so much. So how are you going to give back to him? And like any regular person would be like, oh, okay, I'll just work for him. Or I'll just, I'll give him money. I'll give him the money that I owe him for the weed that he spotted me for. You know what I mean? I'll go to work and I'll do this. But for me, it was just like, you can't go to work because there's something wrong with you. You don't know what's wrong with you at this point in time. You have absolutely no money. You have no family. What are you going to do to pay this man back? And now you're famous. You're completely famous because of him. What are you going to do to give back to him? And now all the voices are like, you have to suck his dick. Oh, he's going to do it. He's going to do it. You have to suck his dick. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. And it's also this feeling from inside where it's just like, you feel like you have to do it. It's like, it's why schizophrenics get such a bad rap. You know what I mean? Because there was this one guy that murdered somebody on a bus, and he had schizophrenia, and he was diagnosed, and he never took his medication. He stopped taking his medication. Then, like a year later, he killed someone, and that always stayed in my mind. Where it's just like, and they asked the guy, they were like, "Why'd you do it?" And he's like, "Because voices were telling me to do it." And I half agree with that because the voices are interesting. They'll tell you to do stuff, but you don't have to listen. But then it becomes something else where it's just like it becomes this feeling that you have to do stuff. And the voices are like a secondary thing where it's like I'm trying to comprehend what my body is telling me to do. So if my body is telling me to go across the street, then there must be somebody telling me to go across the street. So it's not like the voice is there technically. You know what I mean? But the voice is like a secondary thing where it makes everything make sense. So it's like, yes, voices were telling me to suck my friend's dick for money, but it was because I felt like I had to. And then it felt like we were famous. And then it felt like everybody knew who I was. And it felt like it was an initiation type thing. I felt like it was, yeah, to get initiated into it. It's like the whole Illuminati type thing. So, like, this is where they get these stories from, guys. Like, you're wondering all these conspiracies that go on, like, where does it come from? It comes from paranoid people. Like, it comes from people that I'm sure have mental problems, but it doesn't it's not addressed as a mental problem. It's just like a conspiracist. Like, oh, you just believe in conspiracies. I feel like that is like borderline schizophrenia, but it's not really schizophrenia at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, there's steps to it. You're not a schizophrenic. You just believe in conspiracies, and you're able to write really good stories. And I know that you don't really believe in your stories. It's not hindering your life that you believe in these stories. It's just like believing in God. Like, yeah, you can believe in God, but it doesn't affect your everyday life. Like, it might affect some decisions that you make, and these are the reasons behind those decisions. It's like, oh, why'd you give that guy money? Oh, it's because I believe in God. And it's like, oh, okay, this guy believes in God. That's why he gave him money. So it's the same thing as the voices that schizophrenics hear. It's like, why did you cross the street when traffic was moving and you got hit by a car? Why'd you do it? Oh, it's because the voices told me to. So for schizophrenics, that's what it becomes. Like, these ideas that you get stems from something. So it just helps us a lot to explain it as voices. It's like, but a lot of questions that people will have is like, are voices real though? And the answer to your question is like, yes, they're very real. Like, there's voices, and then there's stuff that you do because you feel forced to. They're separate. I would put them in separate categories. It's like, all right, there's voices that you hear and they make you go a little bit crazy. It makes you want to get out of the room. It makes you want to run away. It makes you want to do certain things. But you can sit in a room and hear voices and feel antsy. Like, you feel antsy. Now there's another step where it's just like, now you feel like you have to do stuff. And because you experience the voices were the very first thing that was there. And I didn't have to do anything for the voices. Like, I heard voices. I was just like, okay, I'm hearing voices. Holy shit, this is crazy. And then all of a sudden it started transferring to like, oh my God, now I feel like I have to do things. Okay, how am I going to explain this to somebody? Okay, I'm hearing voices. And they're like, oh, so that's why you set the house on fire. It's like, oh, yeah, because I was hearing voices. And the voice is probably they're not even saying like, burn the house down, burn the house down, burn the house down. It's probably just a feeling of you like wanting to burn the house down. It's just like, I just have the feeling to do it. And I felt like I had to do it. It felt like a divine hand was moving me to do it because it told me what to do. And I was just in third person mode and I was just doing it. And, so that's my explanation. And I will explain this over and over again because it comes out differently every single time. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to explain it so much to the point that people understand it. And I know that repetition is a good thing, especially when it comes to this, because it's such an unknown topic. It's something that is very unknown and people don't really talk about this. But for people to get my point of view, where it's just like, I want to explain to people that I think that schizophrenia is a superpower. And I believe that people have powers in this world, and we don't we do not give notice to that whatsoever. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's it for the video portion. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you follow and subscribe. I hope if you ever even got this far, like, I hope you just skipped through it and just kind of read through the transcript, because there's going to be a transcript. You know, at least you guys get that from me. But yeah, bye for now.